is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be ranking all of the drop spots in Warzone from worst to best. And when I say all of the drop spots, it's going to be all the name locations on the map. Nothing that doesn't have a name officially. We're actually going to break that down in another video. So guys, be sure to leave a like if you do enjoy any part of this, and comment down below what you disagree with most, because these are all based on my opinion. We organized it into S to F tier, and I will be breaking down which one, like when we hit a separation part of that barrier as we go along. So without further ado, guys, let's just get right into it. So coming in the F tier, the bottom spot, the number 20 position is going to be Park. Now, Park is bad for a lot of reasons. First off, it's just south of downtown, and if you're going to drop in this area, you might as well drop at the least in a little bit part of downtown. You have a little bit of cover, a couple buildings to loot. But with Park, there's really not a lot of places that contracts can spawn. There's only like the one gazebo and maybe another shack over in that area that you can loot stuff up, and really it's just a big open area. It doesn't really even deserve to have a named location on it. So coming in at the number 19 spot, guys, this is going to be Stadium, actually. And Stadium could be 15 times better if they opened it up, or at least a little concourse around the area. But really, it's a named location, but it's just a big block of nothing, and most of it you can't even access. There's about 7 chest spawns around the circle of Stadium. Sometimes you get a scavenger contract that you can run around and get a little bit of cash early, but really there's not a whole lot of reason to drop here other than the fact that it's a central location. And so that rounds out our F tier, guys. We're moving into the D tier of locations, and number 18 spot for me is going to be Port. Now, I know this is going to hurt a lot of you guys out there, especially some of my friends on PS4 that I play with that love to drop Port, but really I don't enjoy landing here. Not a whole lot of upside to landing here. If you are going to be doing some contracts, most of the time you're just gonna be running up and down the cranes, and that's gonna be either burning a lot of time or making you exposed or stuff like that. It is kind of a larger location, and you can get into a few engagements there, but it's just not as good as some of these other ones up here. And coming in at number 17, guys, we are going to get Storage Town. Now, Storage Town is another situation of it could be a lot better if it had more contract spawns. It's pretty flat. There's only 2 levels of verticality to Storage Town. You're either in, like, on the bottom ground floor, or you're on top of the storage containers, which when you are on top of the storage containers, you're basically a sitting duck for anybody that wants to come around. And for some reason, it only spawns like 1, maybe 2 contracts at a time. Most of the time, I like to just land at the shack over to the west side of Storage Town and then rotate in and pick off some people that are still looting up in the area. But it's really confusing. It's not that diverse, and not a lot of things spawn there. Coming at the 16th spot, guys, we are going to have Airport. Just north of Storage Town, we're gonna have Airport, and I'm not talking about the hangars over on the east side. That is actually a really good spot, and I love landing there, but that we're not counting that as Airport. This does have a lot of verticality to it. You have about 3 or 4, maybe 5 stories, depending on if you're counting the roof and you want to land on there. Compared to the rest of the stuff on this list, Airport is just very average. If you run out into the open, I mean, there's a big runway where if you're rotating to really anywhere to the north, you're gonna have to cross into a large open space, be very vulnerable to anybody. Rotating anywhere north on a circle pole, or even east for that matter, can be very difficult, and that's why Airport is in the number 16 spot. And rounding out the D tier and our number 15 spot, the D tier stands for Downtown. Now, I don't think I hate Downtown because it's bad. I hate Downtown because of how everybody plays it. And until everybody in the Modern Warfare studios finds a way to fix the rooftop Randies, as my buddy likes to call it, and all of the rooftop campers in Downtown, I don't like going here, and it's not very good. But I couldn't rate it any lower than this because there's so much to do in Downtown. There's so much to loot. There's so many contracts to complete. You can really get lost and spend your entire game in here, but as a drop spot, man, I just can't. I just can't give it the time of day. And so we are moving into our C tier here, and coming in at number 14 spot, guys, this is going to be Farmland. And the reason that Farmland is kind of in the middle of the pack, like, we're in the C tiers now, we're kind of in the middle of the zones, but Farmland is just kind of all the way to the outside, and there's not that many pros to landing here. I mean, there's a good amount of houses that you can loot up, but it's very easy to kind of lose your bearings, and very easy to get snuck up on when you are looting stuff. But most of the time, you're gonna have to get a vehicle out of here, cross over the river to rotate back into zone, and that, again, that's the same problem that airport has in leaving you exposed. But you know, Farmland's not the best location. It's pretty good, but it's not the greatest. It's C tier. Coming in at number 13 and number 12, actually, we're going to have Promenade West in 13 and Promenade East in 12. Now, the reason that I put East above West is because it is a little more central on the map. And you're going to start to notice a pattern here where I'm talking about positioning of these places. Promenade West, if you want to land on the far side, maybe go down into the hills area on your rotation. That's a pretty good spot. Promenade East, it's basically the same thing, but a couple more buildings to loot up and, again, closer to the center of the zone. So 13 and 12, I think, are very fair for those, rounding out our C tier. And going into the B tier, guys, we actually have 5 locations that are in the B tier, the least of which at number 11 is going to be Train Station. Now, Train Station has a lot of cover. There's not a lot of open areas here, and it is very central. So it's a very good spot, but there's a lot of dead area. A lot of the area inside the train station and all that is basically unusable. I mean, you have a couple split lane paths if you are going on the first floor of Train Station, and if you're going to be on the top floor of Train Station, there's a couple ways you can get up to the roof, but most of the time you're just going to land the roof and work your way down. Yeah, it's center of the map. It's pretty open, and it's coming in on number 11 spot. And at number 10, guys, this is kind of a little bit surprising when I was making this list. I didn't know where to put this one, and this is going to be Lumber. Lumber suffers from the same problems that Farmland does in terms of being far on the east side of the map and having difficult rotations. But the perk of Lumber is it's more north, so if you want to rotate into Quarry, you can kind of go north and avoid other people instead of just crossing the river to the west. And also, Lumber is more compact. You know, you have a lot of buildings that are close together. You can bob and weave in between all the stacks of wood, and you have a couple. I mean, the building structures there are really nice. So I'm a big fan of Lumber. Good solid contract spot. You can get about 5 to 6 contracts in here, or just just 1 and 2, and then rotate out. For a middle of the road, that's like a B tier, basically middle of the street here at number 10. Solid spot here for Lumber. And gonna be coming in at the number 9 spot, guys. We are gonna have Dam, actually. Dam is very far of a location. It is in the top corner of the map, very secluded, but there's 2 levels of verticality to Dam. So the fact that you can either go on the top part and start down, or go on the bottom part, grab the helicopter and work up, I just think it's a very solid location for any range of solos, duos, trios, or squads. Dam is one of those that it's best to adjust your flight path after your drop, and kind of taking advantage of your surroundings, knowing where people are going to go. It can really split where you want to go in Dam. So that's why it's coming in at the number 9 spot. Coming in at number 8, guys, we have TV Station. And TV Station, again, it was another very hard one to rank. I got through the other 19 and I got to TV Station. It was the last one I ranked. I'm sitting here like, I don't know. So in terms of loot, it struggles. But in terms of positioning, you have the center of the map, you have a helicopter that spawns there that you can rotate out of, and there's a couple unnamed locations there in between TV Station and Stadium that are really good to loot in. So now that I'm kind of talking it out, like 8 is maybe a little high. Maybe I move TV Station below Train Station, but anyway, I think it still belongs in the B tier because it has a lot of vehicle spawns and a lot of good rotations being in the center of the map. Coming in at number 7, going to round out our B tier. After this, we move into A and S tier. We have Superstore. And some people call Superstore the Tilted Towers of Warzone. And I don't really see that or understand it, but Superstore is always a hot drop. And you know what you're getting when you want to go Superstore. Again, basically dead center of the map. A lot of people want to go there. No matter where the bus route takes you, you're gonna basically be a hot drop for Superstore. There's a good amount of weapon drops here. Chest spawns not as much, but floor loot, man, you don't even need any chests because you can just run around, get fully kitted on armor, lethals, tactical, purple guns at least, and you'll be set after just running around the bottom floor of Superstore, even not to mention the 2nd and 3rd floor of the area. And guys, that's gonna bring us into our A tier spots. Coming in at our number 6 spot, some of you guys may have thought this was gonna be on the list a little bit sooner, and that is gonna be Hospital. Hospital is just a better downtown, in my opinion. I mean, it has a lot of verticality, but the main helicopter landing zone and the main hospital tower are not good vantage points to just be sniping and shooting down at everyone. So it makes it better because you can take advantage of all the loot in all those buildings without having to worry about being sniped and having rooftop campers. Hospital takes the good things of downtown and gets rid of the bad things, and that's why it's coming in an A tier number 6 spot. And guys, we are at the top 5. So, and again, I remind you, if you do enjoy any part of this video, leave a like and let me know in the comment section what you disagree with most. And number 5, I think some of you might disagree with this one, and it's prison. You know, I talk a lot about the center of the map, and prison is basically the opposite. It is in the far southeast corner of the map, but it does spawn a helicopter for mobility. It does spawn a couple cars. You have a little bit of safety when you're rotating out, but not just to talk about that, to talk about the loot. There are so many levels of verticality, basically one of the most diverse top to bottom places, areas of interest that you can drop in. You can start at the bottom and work your way through the actual prison cells. You can work at the top, walk around different towers. If you land in the middle, you're exposing yourself to a lot of pop shots, so that's why it's not in the top 3 here, but I still think it's a top 5 location just because of the sheer amount of loot that is available from top to bottom. And coming in at number 4, guys, this is a place that I don't land very often. If you check into any of my streams, which if you don't follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/skids, link will be down in the description below. But if you guys hear me talk about it on stream, I say I have landed here. I can count on my hands the amount of times I've landed at this spot, but every single time I do, I love it, and that is going to be military base at number 4. There are so many contracts that always spawn here. I just don't understand what the randomizer in this game is that's going to give us the vast amount of contracts. You could have 10 squads land here, and everyone would have their own contract with some to spare. Now, there's 2 separate parts to military base. You have the actual bunkers and the tents and everything on the south side, but then you have the in-ground locations on the north side. If you are willing to cross over the airstrip, this airstrip is not as treacherous as airport's airstrip because there are bunkers around that you can hop between. There's a lot of barriers in the middle. There's oftentimes a buy station in there that you can buy some UAVs, self-reses, whatever you want. And it's a really well balanced location. I can't think of too many complaints with military base, except the only complaints I have is that it's A tier and it's not S tier like these next 3 that we are going to have. And if you're keeping track at home, and if you know me at all, you probably know what's going to come in at the number 1 spot. But before we get there, guys, we are going to reveal our number 3 location, and that's going to be another location with so many contracts. I think that this is actually the one that spawns the most for its size, and that's going to be Boneyard. That's going to be Boneyard, guys. All of these crash planes we talked about, all the contracts that spawn a military base, take that and double it. Like, there are about 15 that spawn in just the north half alone. It's insane. The only complaint I have about Boneyard is the people that camp out in the buildings on the north side, but all you got to do is not go there. All you got to do is stay on the south and the middle part even, and you can just run around and the planes get fully kitted up and rotate wherever you want to. It's not the most central location, but oftentimes it does get a good circle drop, or you can rotate through Storage Town, you can go through the promenades, you can do whatever you want from this location, and that is why it's an S tier spot. And so we have 2 locations left, and this second one's probably really going to surprise you. You may have even forgotten that it was a named location, and that's Hills. Hills is coming in at our number 2 spot. So the reason that it is number 2 and it's so high up here is because of what I said earlier. You probably forgot that it was a named location. It's not a very popular spot to drop. Take this piece of advice and go to this spot because there's a couple contracts that spawn here, usually some bounties, usually some scavengers, enough to get you guys started at the beginning. You can land either near the cul-de-sac, you can go in the shopper village. There's a crap ton of buildings around this area that you can just run around, stay safe, and you don't have to worry about being picked off from anywhere, because to the south there's basically nothing, so you don't really have to worry about a squad landing to the south. And then in terms of the north, people aren't going to rotate down south into Hills. You basically just rotate out of it, so you have a little bit of time and a little bit of security to make sure that you and your squad get looted up, get kitted, and you guys can get on out of there. And no shocker here, guys, that the #1 spot is going to be Quarry. Yes, the king of Quarry himself ranks Quarry as the #1 spot to drop. Where do I begin? I love this place so much. I love this place so much. I just think I know it best, and it's so easy. Like, for some reason, I feel like you get so many zones in Quarry. Like, I just don't even know where to begin. It's a large location. You can land in a bunch of different spots. You can land north side on the mounds. You can land in the middle on either one of the 2 main buildings. That's 2 different locations right there. You can land south side at other sets of mounds or towards that buy station. You could just get so many kills there. It's so fun, and it's a good high elim place. It's one of the locations that it's easiest to stay in and easiest to lose time in, because if you get zones 2, 3, 4, you look up, you don't even realize there's 30 people left because you've been busy the whole time looting and killing and everything like that. It's so much fun. I love Quarry so much. #1 spot, always want to land there. And so, guys, that is going to be it for this video today. Ranked 20-1. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Next up is probably going to be a ranking of the unnamed locations on the map, so be sure to hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on that video or any other Warzone videos that I do have in the future. I love you guys, and until then, I will see you on the flip side.
Yeah, inspire you is what I'm trying to do. Man, I came a long way from a couple views. It don't matter about your size of shoes or what you going through. If I could do it, you could do it too.